throughout Roblox's history, Roblox has had many games to choose from rock battle games back in the day to RNG gambling slop that we have now. But today, I'm gonna tell you 5 of the best games that I honestly think that you should play and check out. Keep in mind the Bed Wars background footage is not part of this. One of the games is not Bed Wars. I'm just gonna let you know. But aside from that, let's get started.
Subject 1. Something evil will happen.
So the game in the background is called Something Evil Will Happen. Now this game is basically like natural disaster survival. If you play natural disaster survival, you'll probably get it. However, there are actually more disasters than there are in natural disaster survival, and that's what's good about this game. Also, not to mention, natural disaster survival has only 2 items that are only obtainable by buying a game pass. Whereas in this game, there is a shop and a currency called Dosh. In fact, I'll show you what the shop looks like actually. Anyway, while I ramble, this game has stuff such as vehicles, emotes, stuff like that, and it is overall just a very cool game. Emotes such as this. Yeah, this game has some very cool stuff in it. Anyway, so basically, natural disaster survival players will probably love this game. Not to mention, despite this only being created like last year, this game is actually classic themed. Does a pretty good job at it as well. The interface is kind of like the 2014 interface, but during early to mid 2014. So yeah, they decided to recreate this, but they recreated it in a more unique and creative way, where they put the health bar at the side, and also they have a stamina bar too, which in my opinion is pretty cool. And here's what the shop looks like, by the way. As you can see, yeah, you can buy stuff using a currency called Dosh. There also is more items than just the balloon and apple, unlike in natural disaster survival. Overall, I think this is a very well made game, and you should definitely play it. Anyway, let's move on to our next game.
Subject 2. Flood Escape Classic.
This is Flood Escape. Basically, this game is about escaping from a facility that is flooding with toxic water that kills you. Now, the teamwork is a very important part of this game, as you will need other people to help you. However, there is a single player mode, but even that requires a certain amount of wins. So that basically means that you're still gonna need to do teamwork anyways. The game is pretty fun, however. I've played it with my friend and we've had a fun time playing it. Now, you can also spectate other people, which I think is pretty cool. Also, if you want to support the creator, make sure to go play it and its sequel, Flood Escape 2. Now, the reason why I'm covering the original classic version is because I just think the original's better. However, you should also check out the sequel if you want to support Crazy Blocks and his other projects. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Also, this game was covered in a video by, but he, made a video about classic games that are still fun to play, and he actually included this. In fact, I'll play a clip of it now.
Of game modes and maps to implement that skill in. Teamwork, for example, is a very big aspect of this game. A normal Flood Escape map can't really be completed alone. You need other people to press buttons so you can make it across certain areas of the map in time. Other people are also extremely helpful in the code cracking stage, where you have to guess the correct combination of 4 red or green buttons necessary to unlock a door twice. Obviously, the more people clicking buttons, the better. There is a single player extreme mode for all you lone wolves out there, but to unlock that, you need to get 10 wins from normal games. So no matter what, you're gonna have to suck it up and work with the other people in your server, at least for a little while. The game hasn't been updated in a year now, and it definitely shows its age. The expected skill level for each difficulty is kind of outdated at this point, the character animations are pretty janky, and the build quality is very old school. You can definitely tell that this is a classic game. And unfortunately, as better obby games have risen in popularity over the past few years, this game has experienced a sharp decline in popularity. Despite that 551 million total visit count, its average concurrent player count hovers around 250 these days. Crazy Blocks' current project is Flood Escape 2, which despite having only been around since 2017, has managed to do almost as well as Flood Escape Classic, pulling in a staggering 497 million visits. It still gets regular updates to this day, and it's much more complex than its older brother, with more game modes, cosmetic improvements, and a much higher difficulty overall. Nevertheless, Flood Escape Classic is still pretty fun, and if you're ever in a nostalgic mood and looking for some chill obbies to play, then it might be the game for you.
Anyways, let's move on to our next game, shall we?
Subject 3, Rivals.
Now for this segment, we'll be talking about one of the more popular games on this list, Rivals. Now, this game is played by a lot of big YouTubers who I won't name for just having done bad things. However, this game is still actually really well made, and I think it's genuinely, really fun. Now, I get that some people could hate it because of how popular it is and how most players are just little kids with absolutely trash avatars. But, when you think about it, when you actually play the game, it's actually quite fun. And that's why I think you should play it too, because this game is perfect for when you're bored. I genuinely like this game, and there is a wide selection of weapons. Also, no, I was not paid to say any of this. However, I am playing Mirror Matchup 3v3 in the background right now. Anyways, so, yeah, there isn't that much to say about Rivals, other than it's fun and good for, when you're bored. There are a lot of sweats and tryhards, but me personally, I think the game is still good. So, anyways, let's move on to our next game. Wow, this segment was pretty short, to be fair. Anyway, let's move on to our next game.
Subject 4, Sword Fights on the Heights 4.
Now, I have to say this is one of my favorite games. I don't really play it constantly, and it wouldn't really be in my list of top 5 favorite games. However, I still want to mention this because it is somewhat fun. Basically, you go around the map, collect swords, and use it to kill people and get as many KOs and as few WOs as possible. Now, this is part of the genre of sword fighting. Now, this is just a subgenre of brick battling, which I mentioned earlier in the video. However, I still think this game is quite fun. I just wouldn't put it in my favorite games list. The reason why I put it in this video is because I genuinely could not think of games I like after the third one, so I just decided to put it here. But yeah, so again, there isn't really that much to say other than this game's decent. I don't like it as much as the others. I barely play it. But yeah. Let's just move on to the next game, I guess.
Subject 5, Dandy's World.
Again, another popular one. Though, see, the last one and this one, I only got them just because I was looking at my recent games list. I have no clue what to include. Yes, genuinely. However, I still think you should play this game because it is pretty fun. So what you do is you go out to machines, extract black ink called ichor, do that for a bunch of floors. Now, yes, this game is infinite. However, I still think that it's pretty fun. You need to survive. You need to survive floors. Try not to die. Try to keep all your health and extract from the machines. Now, I think you should check this out. Again, not much to say here. But this game also has a lot of lore, which I will not be covering because I don't know much about the lore. 2, I think that this video would be like hours long if I covered the lore. So yeah. And those are 5 of the games that I think you should play. Now, I did get a little lazy for the last 2, and for that, I'm sorry. However, more content is on the way, and I have bigger and better things planned. So, without further ado, see you in the next one. Goodbye. Also, there's some other things that I want to say as well. I am deeply sorry for getting lazy at the end. Anyway, let's just cut to the outro now.